tell you a quick story in my riding of Ajax. Knocked on a big house on Thursday before advanced voting started. 32-year-old man named Malcolm opens the door. We have conversation for about 8 or 9 minutes. He's back home with his parents. Well, that's like I said, April 21st. Okay. He's back home with his parents. He moved out when he was 25. He's one of our great first responders in Durham and in Ajax. And he's a firefighter. He makes just over 6 figures. Moved out when he was 25. He's built a career. He's done everything right. And he moved back in with his parents 6 months ago. They're happy to have him, but they're heartbroken that he's back. He wants to be on his own. He can't make it work anymore. He can't make the rent at the same time as saving for a down payment. So he's back home. These are the problems I'm seeing all over the place in Ajax, and all of our candidates in the GTA and all across Canada are hearing about and seeing firsthand. After this lost Liberal decade, the costs of crime up, our economy is down, we're under America's thumb, we all feel it's clear the Liberals do not deserve a 4th term. So it's time to put Canada first, for a change, with a new Conservative government that's going to axe taxes, especially on housing, build homes, unleash resources, stop crime in our neighborhoods, and bring home jobs to stand up to the U.S. President. From a position of strength, we believe Pierre Poilivere is the only person that can do this with our party in government. So here to tell you more about our plan for housing and turning Canada around and putting Canada first for a change, I have the pleasure of introducing Pierre Poilivere.
Great to meet you. Excellent. Thanks very much for being here. Thanks for being here. Good. They are. That's good. I'm really glad to hear it. Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Before I get underway this morning, let me first offer my condolences to Catholics all around the world on the loss of Pope Francis. His role is, of course, at the center of the Catholic Church, and there have been countless millions of Catholics and non-Catholics that have been inspired by his leadership in faith and other domains. And our prayers are with all Catholics as they lay to rest the head of the Catholic Church, and we are in solidarity in remembering him and honoring his contributions. Je présente mes plus sincères condoléances aux catholiques à travers le monde face au décès du pape François. Son travail avait un impact important à travers le monde, y compris pour les non-catholiques, et tout le monde est solidaire en offrant nos condoléances et nos prières pour ceux qui ont été touchés par le pape François. It is an honor to be here in Scarborough today, one of our great communities, hardworking people who get out of bed every morning and literally build this country. Here we are with these incredible builders behind us today. Our purpose, of course, is to bring change. Here we are a week before the change election, and we need change so that these hardworking people can afford food and homes and live once again on safe streets. Change to put Canada first. But after the lost Liberal decade, everything costs more. Work doesn't pay. Housing costs have literally doubled, rising faster in Canada than in any other G7 country. The worst of that housing inflation happened after Mark Carney became economic advisor to Justin Trudeau. Now, many had been concerned that Mr. Carney would be just as bad as Trudeau. On Saturday, we learned he will cost even more. Mark Carney launched a platform that will add $130 billion more spending than Trudeau had already projected. In other words, as crazy and costly as Trudeau's budget plan already was, Mark Carney's is even worse. Adding Trudeau's planned deficits with Carney's promised spending, a fourth Liberal government would bring in $250 billion of new inflationary debt. That will drive up the cost of food and housing, require Liberals to raise taxes on housing and work, and risk the very stability of our economy. We've also learned from journalist Catherine Levesque in a comment she made that in fact Mark Carney's platform was written for Justin Trudeau. They simply went into the document, they did a search and replace, they highlighted the name Trudeau, they replaced it with Carney, and what do you know? You have a platform for a fourth Liberal term. How could you ever expect a different result when you have the same Liberal ministers, same Liberal advisors, same Liberal platform under Mark Carney that you had under Justin Trudeau? You will have the same costly, reckless results if you give Justin Trudeau and the Liberals a fourth term in the face of Mark Carney. That's why we have a team who's here today to deliver change. Change so you can afford food. Change so you can be safe on your street. Change so you can have a roof over your head. That team includes Gurmeet Sandhu, Sachita Jalan, Jocelyn Poirier, Reddy Mutukuru, Eris Nevesian, Bellet Matthews, and of course Greg Brady, who introduced me and is a legend in these parts. We know that this team is needed now more than ever, because after the lost Liberal decade, many Canadians have given up on owning a home at all. 88% of renters today say the goal of owning a home is out of reach after 10 years of Liberals. Half of millennials and 2/3 of Gen Zs have delayed starting families because they can't afford a place to live. Liberals have made life unaffordable. They've made it impossible for our youth to house themselves. They've rewarded big city politicians who hike taxes and block home building. Out of control Liberal money printing and immigration have inflated demand, while Liberal funded local bureaucracies have blocked construction and restricted supply. What do you know? When you drive up demand and you block supply, you see the price double. That's Liberal economics. We can't afford it anymore. Construction is actually getting worse. After the last 3 or 4 years, when the Liberals finally realized they were in political trouble because of their housing inflation, they sent out Sean Fraser to make literally dozens of announcements of how they were going to accelerate construction. And so what happened after they made all those announcements and those promises? And all the media covered it breathlessly as though it was some new and dynamic change in the system. Well, this year in Toronto, housing and construction is down 58%. It's down 37% in Vancouver, down 21% in Halifax, and down in big cities all across the country. Mark Carney has announced that he's bringing back Sean Fraser, the same Liberal housing minister who caused this disaster. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You won't get a different result unless you do something different. We need to elect a new Conservative government that will unlock building and put affordable homes over the heads of hardworking Canadians. Canada has the most land to build on, yet we have the fewest homes per capita in the G7. And Mark Carney will only make it worse. As head of the Bank of England, his reckless money printing priced an entire generation of British youth out of housing. As Trudeau's economic advisor, he advised openly on the record and in the public realm for massive money printing 2020, 2021, and thereafter, money printing that later would drive up interest rates and housing costs. And now his plan is to replicate all of the same policies, building up bureaucracies in Ottawa with tens of billions of dollars of new spending on regurgitated and rebranded Liberal programs that will ensure that you will never own a home. He is the same as Justin Trudeau, and the last thing we can afford in this Liberal housing crisis is more of the same. This plan involves building more bureaucracy rather than building more homes. But the good news is, we don't have to choose a costly fourth Liberal term of failure. We have a chance for change and hope that home ownership will be restored. That is why I'm announcing today a plan to build 2.3 million new homes over the next 5 years for a change. And we've got the numbers to back it up. While the Liberals make generalized promises that they've been breaking for the last 10 years, we actually have a breakdown on how we're going to get to these 2.5 million homes. Let's start with the baseline. Canada's building about 245,000 homes a year right now. Our Conservative plan to axe the federal sales tax will increase that by 30,000 homes per year. Second, we're going to incentivize municipalities to cut their development taxes by 50,000 homes. It's $50,000. When you cut the sales tax and the municipal taxes on home building by a total of $100,000 a home, you stimulate well over 50,000 additional home builds to bring it up to about 300,000 homes per year. Next, we will build on this increased construction by requiring municipalities permit 15% more homes per year as a condition of getting federal funding. When you compound that 15% on the 300,000 homes, then by the year, this will get Canada to over 535,000 new homes being built in year 5, at a total of 2 million homes by 2030. But we'll go further. Within 100 days, we'll identify 15% federal land that is optimal for home building, and we will pre-zone it and sell it off for home building, requiring that builders use the land to build affordable, privately owned homes. Yes, I know Liberals will gasp. They don't want anybody to own a home. They think everybody should live in a government dwelling. We will be selling the land so that Canadians can buy homes that belong to them and that give them the pride of home ownership and the home equity. The Globe and Mail has already identified hundreds of thousands of unused and identified thousands of unused and underutilized sites that will unlock at least 288,000 homes for Canadians. When you add it all up, it gets you 2.3 million homes for Canadians in 5 years. For the young Canadian trapped in your parents' basement, for the renter unable to save up for a down payment, for the senior worried about eviction after rents have skyrocketed, like the retired truck driver in his 70s who drove a truck for 50 years and then told me that he was being rent-evicted and he was going to have to call his daughter, his little girl, and ask if he could move into her basement. For all of these people who work so hard and done everything right, my message to you is one of hope. You will have a home that you can afford, a place to live, a place to stay. Voilà 2,3 millions de logements au cours des 5 prochaines années. Et contrairement à la promesse de Mark Carney, il s'agit d'un chiffre tiré pas au hasard, mais avec des calculs réels et confirmés. Le plan va y parvenir. L'année dernière, le Canada a bâti 245 000 logements. Notre plan vise à éliminer le TPS sur les maisons neuves et les appartements. Ça va stimuler la construction de 36 000 logements additionnels par année. En plus, on va inciter les municipalités de couper leurs taxes sur la construction en leur payant pour le faire. Ça va stimuler à peu près un autre 30 000. Donc maintenant, on est à 306 000 logements par année. Encore, on va inciter les municipalités de permettre 15% de plus de logements construits par année et ça va être une condition pour recevoir l'argent fédéral pour l'infrastructure. Ça va nous donner un chiffre de 535 000 nouveaux logements construits par l'année 5, pour un total de 2 millions de logements pour 5 ans. Mais ce n'est pas le 2,3 encore. Donc, où est-ce qu'on va pouvoir trouver un autre 300 logements? On va vendre 15% des terrains fédéraux situés dans nos villes qui appartiennent au gouvernement fédéral et qui ne sont pas utilisés maintenant, mais qui sont très bien placés pour avoir des logements. On va les prisonner pour faire la construction rapide et on va les vendre aux promoteurs avec des contrats qui obligent les constructeurs de livrer des logements abordables. Le Globe and Mail a déjà recensé des centaines de sites inutilisés et sous-utilisés qui vont permettre de construire 288 logements supplémentaires. Donc, au total, on ajoute tous ces chiffres ensemble, on aura 2,3 millions de nouveaux logements d'ici 5 ans. Et je vais ajouter, on va plafonner l'immigration, on va réduire massivement les nombres qu'on va ajouter à votre population pour qu'on ajoute plus de maisons que personne. Ça va éliminer le déficit de logements que les libéraux ont créé et ça va encourager l'accès à la propriété. Pour les jeunes Canadiens coincés dans le sous-sol de leurs parents, pour les locataires qui n'arrivent pas à économiser suffisamment pour une mise de fonds, pour des familles qui ont peur de ne jamais avoir une maison, ou pour un jeune couple qui veut juste des enfants avec un petit cours pour jouer à l'extérieur, j'offre de l'espoir pour faire changement. Vous allez avoir une maison abordable comme ça l'a toujours été avant les libéraux. I should add that on top of building 2.3 million new homes, we also need to outpace population growth. Conservatives will cap immigration to ensure that we always add homes faster than we add people. That is the only way to do it. The ratio of new homes to new people will be its highest in history under a new conservative government. That means that the market will get looser and Canadian renters and buyers will be shopping around and they're going to see more houses for sale rather than competing with an excess number of people, an excess amount of debt being flooded into the economy. What we'll have is options so that our young people can actually afford to buy. This is all part of our plan to restore Canada's promise, to bring real change to Canadians. We're going to cut bureaucracy, waste, consultants, foreign aid, and cap government spending to bring down deficits, inflation, and taxes. We'll cut income tax by 15%, so hard work once again pays off. We'll get rid of we'll get rid of the capital gains tax on anything you reinvest here in Canada. So that if you want to sell a tired old asset and invest into building some homes, you can do that without paying capital gains tax. This will be economic rocket fuel for our economy. On va couper la bureaucratie, les consultants, l'aide à l'étranger et les cadeaux de BS corporatifs pour pouvoir réduire le déficit, l'inflation et les taxes. On va couper les impôts de 15% pour récompenser le travail, éliminer la taxe sur les gains en capital pour ceux qui réinvestissent ici au Canada. On va éliminer les TPS sur les nouvelles maisons et on va encore plafonner l'immigration pour faire en sorte qu'on ajoute les maisons, puis rapidement qu'on ajoute des personnes à notre population. All of this is about bringing change, and this election is a change election. We have to decide if we want 4 more years of out of control housing and food prices, rising crime and danger in our streets, or whether it's time for a change with a new conservative government that will axe taxes, unleash home building and resource development, and bring home our jobs so that we can once again stand up with strength as a country. Change will bring hope, and we need all you to bring that change. So get out and vote. Vote for change. Vote for hope. Let's bring it home. Thank you.
Do you want to do questions from the floor? Please say your name and address.
Morning, Mr. Poilivere, JP Tasker, good morning, CNews News. How are you?
Very well. How are you? You look a little cold.
A little cold.
Can we get
You're axing the walls. Is that your campaign?
We figure if you guys are shivering, then you'll keep your questions short and friendly. Get these guys some hand warmers or something.
Seriously, help me out. You've been calling for an election for the last 2 years, and yet you're now the last major party leader to release a constant platform. We haven't seen one yet. More than 2 million people have already cast a ballot in the advanced polls, and there's only a week left in this election. What's the holdup with the platform? Are you having trouble making the math work for this one?
No, tomorrow we'll have a platform for all eyes to see, which will bring change to Canada. It will axe taxes, unleash home building, resource development, lock up criminals, secure our borders, and bring home the country that we knew and loved. That country has a big choice to make. Yes, on Saturday, just hours before Easter, when Mark Carney thought no one was listening, he came forward with a platform that has $130 billion more spending than Justin Trudeau had already promised. So he's now $130 billion more expensive than Trudeau. And that will mean higher taxes and inflation. It will mean serious risk to the future of our already weak economy. We cannot afford a fourth Liberal term of rising taxes and inflation and crime. We need a change with a new Conservative government that has a truly caustic platform that will cut waste, axe taxes, unleash home building, lock up criminals, and bring home the country that we love. Thank you.
That's it.
Merci beaucoup. Demain, on va présenter une plateforme pour faire changement au Canada. Donc, ici, nous permettre de nourriture et de logement abordable dans une communauté sécuritaire. Samedi, on a vu que les libéraux ont présenté un plan pour ajouter un autre 130 milliards de dollars de dépenses inflationnistes. Donc, Mark Carney est 130 milliards de dollars plus cher que Justin Trudeau. Ça veut dire 130 milliards de dollars de plus de l'inflation. Ajoutant les dépenses planifiées par Trudeau avec les dépenses promises par Mark Carney, ça va dire un quart de billions de dollars de dettes inflationnistes qui va présenter des risques aux Canadiens si les libéraux obtiennent un 4e mandat. Mais on a une autre option. Une plateforme conservatoire pour faire changement, qui va couper les taxes, bâtir des logements, mettre des criminels dans les prisons et produire nos ressources pour reprendre le contrôle de notre avenir. C'est ça le choix. Ou bien un 4e mandat des taxes et des augmentations de prix avec les libéraux, ou bien un vrai changement pour une vie abordable et sécuritaire. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Mr. Poilivere.
Good day.
Jen Hudson from the Western Standard.
Good to see you. Thank
Good
you.
to see you. Thank you. Last year, Quebec received $14 billion in equalization payments, paid for primarily by taxpayers in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC. Last month, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith said that Alberta was no longer agreeable to fund large provinces that can essentially fend for themselves. So what do you say about making equalization payments? You recently said that you will make no significant changes. And so beyond the ability of improving building pipelines in the West, why should people in the West vote for you?
That's a long list. First of all, we need to enrich all the provinces, and I'm the only one with a plan to do that. Yesterday, I rolled out a plan to unleash $500 billion of extra economic growth over the next 5 years by repealing the anti-energy law, the liberal anti-energy law C-69, scrapping the energy cap, getting rid of the tanker ban, rapidly approving resource projects within 6 months, setting up shovel-ready zones that have pre-permitting on mines, pipelines, data centers, power stations, and more. I will rapidly approve LNG Quebec in Saguenay, which will mean the Quebecers will become richer and more prosperous, and that in itself will reduce the burden on taxpayers. So we need to unleash massive economic growth in this country for every single province. After the lost liberal decade of a declining economy with smaller GDP than any other, with a smaller GDP growth than any other country in the G7. The Liberals have done nothing but divide provinces against each other. I want to unite this country. I want to unlock a massive boom nationwide of any energy production, home building, and opportunity for Canadians, and that is what's going to bring our people together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question.
Français. Moi, je veux enrichir toutes les provinces à travers le Canada. Hier, j'ai lancé un plan pour ajouter notre 500 milliards de dollars de croissance économique en éliminant les lois anti-développement. Rapidement, vous donnez le feu vert au projet comme GNL Québec, des pipelines, des mines, des centres de données, des centrales nucléaires, et j'en passe. Ça va causer un boom massif pour enrichir les provinces du Canada et générer 70 milliards de dollars de revenus supplémentaires pour financer nos programmes. Les libéraux ont détruit notre économie avec la pire croissance économique parmi tous les pays du G7 depuis que M. Carney est devenu le conseiller économique à Justin Trudeau. Et ils divisent les Canadiens pour distraire de leur bilan désastreux. On ne peut pas se permettre une quatrième mandat de faible croissance, de l'inflation hors de contrôle. Il nous faut un vrai changement avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur. Couper les taxes et les impôts, bâtir des logements, produire nos ressources et unir les Canadiens pour faire changement.
Thank you. Next question.
Thank you. Hi, Barbara with Politics. I politics.
Thank you.
So over the weekend, the Liberals estimated that you're planning to roll out 140 billion in new spending commitments over the next 4 years.
No.
So considering your pledge to find dollar for dollar savings, what they are suggesting is that this will lead to cuts to dental care and farmer care programs, as well as removing the Canada Child Benefit. So why are you sad that those programs and benefits wouldn't be removed? Can you explain to voters just where you would find those 140 billion savings?
So first of all, the number is wrong. That is liberal math. I think we all know that liberal math doesn't add up. We've had them in power for 10 years, and they've missed every single deficit target that they've promised. Now they're making, we have Mark Carney making exactly the same, the budget will balance itself kind of commitments. So whenever liberals present you with numbers, you should be afraid and very afraid because their numbers are always wrong. Our approach is that every new dollar of spending should be met with savings, and I've already laid out a lot of those savings. We will be cutting consultants by $10 billion. We will be cutting back, we will be getting rid of the liberal programs that give out free drugs. We will get rid of wasteful gun buyback that goes after licensed, law-abiding, trained, and tested owners. And we will be cutting bureaucracy, foreign aid, handouts to corporate insiders, and other waste. On top of that, we will generate $70 billion in additional revenue by unlocking the power of our resource sector and stimulating economic growth. And that number is calculated by independent economists and validated by the former chief economic analyst of Statistics Canada. So by generating more economic growth, cutting back on liberal waste and mismanagement, then we will deliver real change so Canadians can afford food and homes and live on safe streets. The choice in this election is that after a lost Liberal decade of rising cost and crime, can you afford a fourth Liberal term, or is it time for a change with a new Conservative government that will cut waste, cap spending, taxes, unleash growth, so that Canadians can afford food and homes and safe neighborhoods?
En français.
Merci beaucoup. Les chiffres que les libéraux présentent sont faux, encore, comme toujours. On ne peut jamais croire leurs chiffres parce qu'après une décennie perdue, des déficits hors de contrôle et plus grands que promis, ils n'ont aucune crédibilité. Ce que nous promettons et ce à quoi nous conséquons, c'est d'éliminer le gaspillage libéral. J'ai déjà annoncé qu'on va éliminer 10 milliards de dollars des dépenses par année en passant pour les consultants. On va couper le PS corporatif, la bureaucratie, l'aide à l'étranger et plafonner les dépenses avec une loi dollar pour dollar. Et maintenant, on va stimuler la croissance économique avec l'approbation rapide des projets de ressources naturelles et les réductions de taxes sur l'investissement, ce que les économistes confirment va générer 70 milliards de dollars de revenus supplémentaires. Donc, le choix, c'est après une décennie perdue des libéraux où les coûts, les déficits et la dette augmentent hors de contrôle. Est-ce qu'on peut se permettre un quatrième mandat ou est-ce qu'il faut que ça change avec un nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va couper le gaspillage, la bureaucratie et réduire le coût de la vie pour les Canadiens?
Thank you. We will now take a call-in question from the phone line, and this will be the final question.
Thank you.
François Bergeron, l'Express de Toronto. Oui, bonjour, M. Poilivere.
Bonjour.
Je suis de l'Express de Toronto, le média des francophones de Toronto depuis presque 50 ans.
Excellent.
Alors, justement, une des caractéristiques fondamentales du Canada, qui distingue notre pays des États-Unis, c'est sa francophonie. Alors, est-ce que vous avez un plan ou des idées pour développer la francophonie canadienne, augmenter le pourcentage de francophones et de francophiles au Canada? Et par exemple, vous parlez de plafonner l'immigration. Est-ce qu'on ne pourrait pas accepter, surtout les immigrants qui parlent français, ou même accorder la citoyenneté canadienne qu'à des gens qui démontrent une bonne connaissance de la langue et de la culture canadienne-française?
Merci beaucoup. Très bonne question. C'est une matière que je tiens à cœur. Mon père vient de village francophone dans l'Ouest canadien. Il a essayé de partager cet patrimoine avec moi quand j'étais très jeune. Il m'a parlé en français quand j'étais très jeune. Il m'a même dit que si j'étais capable d'élaborer la liste de cadeaux que je voulais en français, Père Noël allait être plus généreux. Malheureusement, j'ai perdu mon français pendant mon adolescence parce que c'était difficile à Calgary de pratiquer. Mais ça m'a donné l'incitation de me consacrer encore plus à la préservation. Nos enfants parlent peu français. Ma femme est québécoise. Et c'est pour ça que j'ai dit à mon équipe conservatrice sur le comité des langues officielles de mettre en place des amendements pour rendre la loi encore plus fort afin de protéger la langue française, d'insister sur l'usage de la loi 101 au Québec dans les entreprises fédérales et d'élargir les services pour les francophones hors de Québec. On va aussi élargir le programme d'immersion qui va encourager les jeunes anglophones d'aller au Québec faire une immersion de 5 semaines, comme j'ai eu l'occasion de faire au Saguenay. Et on va travailler chaque jour pour faire avancer la francophonie, que ce soit les François, les Franco-Manitobains, les Bréaux, les Acadiens et surtout la grande nation québécoise. Nous serons toujours là pour la francophonie canadienne. Et ça va être un bel avenir pour eux et pour nous tous. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. That concludes today's press conference.